Welcome back, you guys. Today we're going to be working on a PT111 G2 Millennium. Now, there's a good chance this is the most advanced build we've ever done on what was going to be a Taurus model slide. Had a customer reach out to me. They had a kind of an idea of what they wanted. They've seen a lot of the stuff that we've done in the past, which I always recommend you guys go back, watch some of our older content, get a feel for us as a business, the service that you're going to be getting, and the services that are offered, because we can blend them on your project. So this customer ended up putting a couple things together. They had a vision of what they want. We're going to kind of talk about that here a little bit. With this being such a large build, a lot of content on the barrel, a lot of content on what's going to be the slide, we're going to take it kind of slow. I want to give you guys a real feel for the hurdles that we have that we're going to have to overcome through the process of this build. So first and foremost, what we're going to have to do is strip this guy down. We're going to end up doing a Raptor cut on the top and then a Cobra nose on the front. Now, those are two things we have not done before. Let's discuss the Raptor cuts first. So on some of our guns, you're going to notice that we cut some side cuts here. Some of them are smaller than others, depending upon the overall length of the slide, the overall width of the slide. There happen to be a lot of different things that play into why do we choose the cut pattern that we choose. So a lot of times you guys will send in something like a P365, as we have here today, and we're going to see some smaller cuts on there. Take notice of the gun on the right is the P365, and on the left is our PT111. Very similar from the nose to where the barrel locks up. Obviously, we have a little bit wider slide here than we do over here, but overall, from where is our front iron sight to where the barrel locks up, we don't have a lot of differences between them. They are very similar overall in length. So typically we would do something like this, which is going to be the smaller end ball mill cut work. It's going to give us a nice cupping. We're obviously going to be able to see some barrel. I do know for a fact that the customer is after barrel exposure. We do want to be able to see some barrel. So we've also brought out today what is the Glock 43. Now, the Glock 43 that we happen to have here obviously is a little bit bigger from where the barrel locks up. It's a little bit longer. The width is pretty close to the same. Now, something you're going to take notice here is on what we had is our SIG there a moment ago. We have a front dovetail there, so we do lose a little bit of work zone or work room up in the front zone because we have a dovetail. We don't happen to have that on the PT111 or the G2C. We also don't happen to have that on the Glock. So overall, we are going to be shooting for what's going to be the larger Raptor cuts. It is done with a larger cutter. It does expose more barrel overall, as you guys have seen in some of our other videos. You guys can see that barrel down and through the side there. So we're going to take some measurements. We're going to see what we can come up with, but overall, we are going to shoot for what's going to be the larger cut pattern on the PT111. We do want the barrel exposure. The next thing that we're going to be working on is going to be the Cobra nose. We've never done this on one of these. This is something that is always challenging because as you put a barrel inside of here, you're going to notice that not all of the front hoop that we see here, which is the circle, is barrel. So we happen to see, and it is hard to see here, but we happen to have a little bit of a gap here between where the barrel is and where the slide is. And the reason for that is as the slide itself does a stroke, obviously the barrel rides on the top, then it comes back in, and then it actually sets on what would be the bottom. So there happen to be a lot of different reasons why they're that way. Some have a closer and tighter tolerances. Some of the guns that are out there, like some of the SIGs that are out there in the market, they actually happen to have different conversion barrels, and they're slightly bigger in diameter. So they end up doing that for different reasons. Obviously, different manufacturers have their own reasons for that. So we do have an issue with cutting what's going to be here our Cobra nose. We do have to make sure that we are in the center of the barrel and not necessarily the center of what's going to be the hole. So that's something to take into consideration. That's going to kind of wrap us up for what's going to be the slide work. We obviously are going to go back. We're going to end up doing a color on that. As of right now, it's going to be combat gray, so it's going to be a dark gray tone. Very cool overall. Let's talk about the barrel. So we're going to be taking the factory barrel here. We're going to be doing the Punisher on the very top of the barrel. We're going to have a nice deep engraving here. We're going to end up doing the what is the multi-gun pattern around the barrel. Now, as you can see, the barrel does have a flange. It's a little bit tapered over here than what we would see in the flat zone. So we're going to work kind of between this ring and kind of between this ring, and we're going to kind of stay off of this because this is a wear zone, and we're going to make sure that we stay away from where the barrel locks up because we also don't want to make sure we have any issues there. The barrel is then going to end up being sandblasted, cleaned up a little bit, and it's going to be sent out for a rose in matte. So it's going to be a pretty interesting build overall. We're going to have our nice Punisher here. We're going to have multi-gun here. We're going to have those deep engraves, so we're going to be able to see some nice detail off of them. Going to go ahead and get that prepped, go ahead and get that done. Now, that's what we're going to start with on this build. So we're actually going to be starting with the laser work. We do have to send those barrels out. They do take several weeks to get back, so that's the first thing that we actually need to get done because we have a little bit of time to work on the slide, to work on the coloring while we're waiting for the barrel to return. So guys, what we're going to do now is we are going to run over to the laser. We're going to go ahead and do the top Punisher, do the multi-gun. We're not going to be doing anything on the right-hand side. Originally, there was some ideas that maybe we would do something. We are going to keep the original serial number on there. We want to make sure that we don't have any issues with the thickness of the barrel or cause any issues later on down the road with it cracking. And we want to make sure that we stay in a safe zone. So we're going to leave that alone. We also want to make sure that the slide and the barrel still remain matching as far as serial numbers go as well. So multiple reasons why we're going to do it. Overall, I think it's going to be a good choice. But guys, what we're going to do is let's get over to the laser. Let's go ahead and get this laser work cranked out and done. What we're going to then do is we're going to get over to the Tormach 770. We're going to turn out those Raptor cuts. We're going to go ahead and get that Cobra nose done. I'm going to do a little bit of coloring. We're going to wait a little bit on my end because we got some parts to wait for them to get back. But once everything gets back in hand, we're going to finish up this video and we're going to see exactly how this project came out. Alright you guys, let's take a minute here and see exactly how this came out in the end as our final product. Super pleased with the color combination, which we're going to get to here in a moment. This happens to be that combat gray. It's one of those ones that we do not quite as often as you would see with Midnight Bronzes and some of the other ones, like obviously black and obviously standard burnt bronze. So it happens to be one of those ones that's a little bit farther off the beaten path. I like it because it's a little bit closer to what would be more like a slight gray. Overall, loving that color. Guys, the Raptor cuts on this are just straight up awesome, okay? So obviously you guys know that we offer that top wave cut, which is a very similar pattern to this. The Raptor cut is a little bit more open. It does show a little bit more barrel from the top, from the sides. We still come down the sides about the same as what you're gonna get on the triple top cut that we have, that wave cut, but overall visually it does expose the top section a little bit more if you didn't want to go with something like a single top window. Now the other thing that we did here was the Cobra nose. Now the Cobra nose is a little bit more challenging because we ended up having this little scallop here that comes from the factory. Of course the nose itself is already chamfered a little bit here on the edge, so we ended up redesigning that pattern several times in order for us to get it exactly right to where the barrel does protrude out through that cut proportionally, so everything looks like it's supposed to. And of course we don't want to have any issues with the lockup, with the functionality, and with the actual reliability of the weapon overall. So we had to make a couple different changes there to make sure that we got that right. Overall, very, very nice design. Now, of course, the Raptor cuts and the Cobra nose is going to be offered on all the models, whether it's the PT111, G2S, G2C, just the standard Millennium G2. So there happens to be offered on all of those, but nonetheless, really liking the way that this came out. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to set this down. Let's take a look at the barrel. Of course, you know how it works. We went ahead and added some pictures to this video so you guys can see it a little bit better. We ended up going with what would be the matte rose Punisher top. Very hard to see in here. This is one of the reasons why I put the gloves on today. We happen to have all the little design all the way around the barrel here. So this is all the little guns, the bulletproof vest, the grenade, the bullets. There's a lot of little decorative things that we put all the way around the barrel that kind of go with the Punisher as an overall pattern. Very, very cool. So this is kind of like a matte, and this is of course like a matte. I really like how the two colors are yet different from themselves, but they still seem to resemble the same sheenness across them. So they're not, you know, one's not reflective, one's not matte, or they're both not reflective. It just happens to come out being really, really nice overall. Loving the way that the tip of the barrel sticks out through the Cobra nose with that cut and how that cut came out in the end. Beautiful work overall. I'm not really sure it gets much better than the way it looks right here. I know that we've had a lot of requests over the last couple of months on the Taurus products. I'm really glad that it happens to be one of those markets that we are targeting. It didn't really turn out that way on purpose. It just ended up being that there was a lot of requests, so therefore we ended up moving in that direction. And we have received a lot of emails. We have gotten a lot of comments on our YouTube channel that has said, hey, you know, thank you guys for working on this market because there seems to be a lack of. So I don't know whether that's the truth or not. I don't really spend a lot of time sourcing out what the other companies do. We just kind of focus on what we do, but we have seen a lot of people start reaching out to us for those services. So overall, I'm happy to be able to support you guys as far as the modification of your firearms and what you guys are looking for, because there may be a lack of. And for us, overall, it keeps us busy, you know? So it's kind of a win-win for everybody all the way around. Guys, if you have not been following our channel, do so. Click on the subscribe button, get your notifications turned on. That's a little bell right next to where it's subscribed. You'll get yourself an email there. And overall, what it's going to do is just going to kind of just keep you updated with what's going on. We've been adding a lot of new packages, especially for the Taurus slides onto the webpage. So right now I think we're up to 4 different versions that we offer. This is one of them, so you'll actually see the Cobra nose with the Raptor cut as a package on there. Of course, stuff like barrel work, as far as laser work goes, as far as hard coatings go, rose gold, standard gold, stuff like copper, gray, things like that. Those are all going to be services that can also be conjoined with the standard services. One of the things to take into consideration is when you go into the Taurus section, you're going to see just those Taurus builds there, but also if you back out one page and you go to the bottom, there's a tab called additional services, and you're going to start seeing engraving. You're going to start seeing stuff like the barrel coatings. You're going to see stuff like the clean and lube there. So this happens to be one of those weapons that's, I'm going to be quite honest with you, it's not really that fun to take apart because of the safety on the back of these. Now, of course, the G2C doesn't happen to have it, but on the other ones they do. Also, if you aren't careful when taking out your extractor on the side, because it has all these little buttons in here, you'll lose some of the springs. So we do offer a clean and lube service. If you just happen to be one of those people that's like, yeah, I don't really know how to take it apart. 1, I don't have the time, and 2, I don't have the tools to do it. We do offer that as a service. So when it comes in, typically we would just bag your parts. If you do a clean and lube, we'll clean those parts. Obviously, we'll re-lube those parts before it goes back into the gun. But nonetheless, a lot of different things on the webpage there. So yeah, if you've already been subscribing, awesome. Share it. Let other people know about it. About us. If you have not been following us over on Instagram and Facebook, Facebook is the place to read those reviews. So you happen to have a lot of reviews that are already over there from the people just in the last 60 to 90 days that are talking about how long it took to get their stuff back, what the quality was on the return. So you're going to get to actually hear from real people that have actually sent stuff in over there. We have a fairly large collection of reviews over the last 2 years that are on there. I think we're at a 5.0 for stars, so we're pretty much 100% rating. And then of course Instagram has just a ton of content. We post stuff on Instagram all the time. If it happens to be something that just isn't long enough to make it into a YouTube video, if it happens to be just something a little bit off the beaten path, but it's very close to a service that we already have offered, more than likely we're not going to end up doing a video. And what you're going to find is over there on our Instagram is where the place is that you're going to want that. So guys, feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions. There is a contacts tab. We do have an email posted on the webpage. There's a phone number also posted on the webpage. If you call me, it's going to be really hard to get me, especially over the next couple of months. We are super busy. We are absolutely slammed. We are in the process of working through the details of getting out of here and into somewhere. We've got some information that's going to be coming up on there. I know some of you guys already know kind of what's going on there. But we're going to actually have an actual dedicated video over there to kind of give you the progress of what we're doing, where we're doing, and how it's going. So, but guys, yeah, totally reach out to me if you have any questions about anything, and you can catch me on the next one.